Episode number 166.
Hello, you're listening to the Career Changemaker podcast. Having the courage to leave a career that you have worked hard to build and try something else can be tough. So in each episode, we dive into key career change strategies so that you have a clear understanding of what is required to transition into a new role or a new industry without feeling like you have to start at the bottom or have to take a massive pay cut, because ain't nobody got time for that. If you are ready for frank and honest discussions about how to become a career change maker, keep listening. I'm your host, lawyer turned career strategist and executive coach, Janine Esbrand. Hello. I am talking to you about what you need to be doing if you want to have more impact and satisfaction in your career. But this topic, I think, is important to talk about because there are a lot of people who are feeling dissatisfied right now in the careers that they are in or the roles that they're in. And sometimes there is an issue with really diagnosing the actual problem. So I work with a lot of women who come to me and say, right, I need to make a massive career move. I need to leap. I don't know what I want to do. I want to do something completely different. I have no idea what it looks like, but I know I don't want to continue doing what I'm doing right now. And what I realize is for a lot of people that I speak to, they haven't really identified what the real problem is. They haven't identified why it is that they're feeling the way that they're feeling. They just know they feel a certain way and they just know that they want it to be different. They just know that they want to change. But what I want to talk about today is the importance of really getting to the crux of what the issue is, because the reason why you may be experiencing dissatisfaction in your career is that there is a misalignment between your expectation and the reality of what's happening for you. So when there's a misalignment between expectation and what happens in reality, that is where dissatisfaction can occur. And this was really highlighted to me. I'll just tell you a little story about what happened with my children after school. So my husband went to pick them up from school, and typically after school, they have some kind of snack. Right. So when he picked them up from school, he didn't have a snack with him. So they're like, Daddy, what's the snack? What's the snack? And he says, okay, we're going back to Mummy's office. So when we get to the office, there's something there for you. So they're getting all excited. They're asking him, what is it? What is it that is at the office? And he's saying, I'm not going to tell you, you have to guess. So they start guessing. And just to give you some context, my son is 6 and my daughter's 4. So they're guessing all of these different things that could potentially be at the office waiting for them. And so my husband's saying, no, it's not that. No, it's not that. No, it's not that. So I'm sitting at my desk and I hear them charging up the stairs and they are laughing and giggling because they are excited to find out what it is that is waiting for them. So they burst through the office door, they look around, and what they see is a loaf of olive bread on my desk, and their faces, hilarious, their faces just dropped. They were like, what's this? And the reason why their face was like that is because their expectation had been built up so much that they thought they were getting something that was like a sweet treat or, a biscuit or a packet of crisp or something that they wanted. But instead, Daddy was pointing them to this olive bread. Now, in normal circumstances, if they come into my office and they find olive bread on the table, they will devour it. They love it. They love olive bread. They will eat it all up. But the reason why they reacted in that way is because the expectation was different. So it's not that the thing that was offered to them is something they don't like. It's just that their expectation of what they were going to receive was misaligned. And I think that this type of thing happens a lot in careers and a lot as you advance and shift and navigate your way through, because sometimes you may think, okay, when I get to this certain place, this is how I'm going to feel. When I reach the certain status. So for me, when it was like, when I qualify as a lawyer, I will arrive and I will feel this way. Or it could be that you're working really hard to secure a promotion and you got your promotion and you are like, yes, I am here. And then you start doing the role and you're like, oh, is this what it is? Or you shift into another team because you think, oh, that team over there seems like where I really need to be. Or I need to be in this other role, and you make the shift. And again, it's like, this isn't really what I expected it to be. So when that expectation is not met, that is when dissatisfaction occurs. And oftentimes the reason why the expectation is not aligned with what actually happens is because of the way that we set our expectation. So we can often be focused on external factors, and we are, as a society, that's how we are taught when it comes to developing in your careers or advancing in education, is looking at external factors. What are the things, what are the markers that I need to be working towards in order for me to feel like I'm on track? Right? Have you ever kind of felt like, okay, I'm at this age, and so at this age, I should have this, and this lined up. I should have the house. I should be married. I should have these things. I should be here in my career. Those markers that are very much externally determined are the things that can sometimes drive us in terms of our decisions. So it's like, okay, what does this role look like? Well, it pays well. It's going to give me the kind of status that I want. It's going to be in an industry that seems good. It's going to allow me to have exposure to something that I think is good. So we're looking at external factors and we're saying, are we going to go for this role? Are we going to transition into this role based on those external factors? And whilst those external factors are important, they are not the whole story. That's not everything that we need to look at, because the reality is once you land the role, and yes, you secure that paycheck, yes, you secure that position and that title, you've done all those things. Once you land the role, then you've got to do the role. Once you land the role, then you've got to do the role. And when you're doing the role, some of those initial markers that you had been judging this role against are less important. The day-to-day is more important. What you're actually required to do, what you're showing up to do, what is expected of you is more important when you actually get into the role. But the things that determine whether or not you're going to have career fulfillment and satisfaction once you get into the role, not necessarily the title, not even necessarily the salary that you're earning, not necessarily the company that you work for. It's the work that you are required to do on a day-to-day basis. So when we're looking at external factors to determine whether or not this is the role that we need to go into, we're missing a huge part. And the big part is to look at, who am I as a person? When you understand yourself more and you know like what my values are, when you know what your strengths are, when you know what your workplace preferences are, when you know what your communication style is, when you know how you best show up, and you understand what those things are, you can use those to really drive your decisions so that you can go beyond the surface level and say, okay, once I'm in this role, am I going to be able to fully show up as me? Am I going to be able to be making a contribution that I feel is impactful? Am I going to be in a position where I can achieve career satisfaction on the day-to-day? Those are the types of questions we need to be asking ourselves, and not just, does this sound like a good role based on the job spec? It's, well, can I see myself doing the role? Not just can I see myself as in, does this sound good, but can I see myself because I know myself? Can I see myself because I understand what I need and what is required in order for me to feel happy in a role? Because then when you set those expectations, it's so much easier for it to be aligned, because the expectations are set from a place of, okay, internally, in terms of how I know I like to show up, in terms of my previous exposure in the world of work and my understanding of what hasn't worked for me, what type of role, what type of position do I need to be in? And using that as your filter is so much more effective than just going out there and just like looking at roles and opportunities and hoping that they will be a good fit. Because really, when we do that, we are setting ourselves up for potential letdown, for potential disappointment, because we haven't fully looked at what it is we're getting ourselves into. It's too surface level. And the decisions that we're making at that surface level are, you know, the logical part of your brain. It's like, okay, does it tick all of those boxes? But sometimes we need to go beneath the conscious level and just spend some time really sitting in, but what do I want and what's important? And sometimes that's not easy, and sometimes that's uncomfortable. Just sitting in the uncomfortability of you really owning what it is you want, even if that goes against the grain, even if that goes against what mainstream would have you do, or even if it goes against the shoulds. Because when we have those external markers of what we should be doing at different phases, those shoulds get very loud. I should be in this type of role by now. I should be striving for this. I should be doing that. You should be. Based on what though? Should be, where do the shoulds come from? And that's a question to ask yourself. Where do the shoulds come from? Are those shoulds coming from something that I have determined, or are those shoulds only coming from external factors or external influences? And if they're only coming from external influences and you haven't yet determined whether or not you even want those things for yourself, then it's easy for you to find yourself in a role where you've been working hard for 5-10 years and asking yourself, what am I actually doing? And can I see myself doing this for the rest of my career? So I would really encourage you that if you are saying to yourself, I know I want to be doing something that's more impactful and I really want to experience more satisfaction in my career, take some time to assess what have been my markers of success so far. How have I been determining what my best next move needs to be? And if you're anything like the clients that I work with and the people that I speak to, you may not have taken the time to do that at this point. It may have been that you've either fallen into all of the roles that you've been doing to date, or you have been following a path that has been set out because this is the industry standard and this is just how things are done. Particularly if you are someone who's in professional services, if you're a lawyer, an accountant, if you are a management consultant, if you have been following the path, but you are finding that the path that you're on is not the path that is feeling fulfilling for you, then it's time to assess. It's time to assess what have been my markers, what have I been looking at as the things that determine whether or not opportunities are right fit, and do I need to shift that? Do I need to shift that? And do I need to do things a bit different? And doing things differently, not necessarily easy, but so helpful. So helpful. I received a message from a client that I've been working with inside of my program who was feeling stuck in her career for a very long time, didn't really know what else she wanted to do. And I guided her through the career change maker process where we really dive in, particularly in phase 1 of the program, into raising your level of self-awareness. So you really understand what it is that you want and why you want it. And when she got the clarity around what it is that she wanted to do, she's so excited that she's like, right, okay, I've got it. This is it. This is what I'm going for. And she had to do a short intensive course in order to position herself for this opportunity. And so I got the message from her and she sent me a screenshot of her certificate. And she was like, I am so excited. Like, I've done it. I'm so excited, not just because I am positioning myself for a new opportunity, but because now that I've gone through this work and now that I've done the reflection piece and now that I'm in a position where I understand myself, I know with certainty that this opportunity is so aligned. This opportunity is so right for me. And so I want to proceed and I'm excited. And that is the type of excitement that I would love for you to experience, because it isn't coming from a place of I'm moving into this role or moving into this space and I hope it works out. It's like, no. I know because I've done the groundwork that this is where I need to be moving next. The groundwork is necessary that so many people just gloss over and then find themselves jumping from role to role to role, hoping for the best, or staying in the same role, hoping that it gets better. So if you're hopping from role to role to role and you're not finding that satisfaction, or you find yourself in this current role, hoping that it gets better, either way, there's an opportunity here for reflection and a course correct. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. So if you want more impact and you want more satisfaction and you're not finding it so far, then I suggest that you approach things differently. And if this is something that you need help with, then I would love to have a conversation with you. So I've got a few spots open inside of my coaching program, Career Change Maker program, for starting in March. And so if you know that you want to be making moves, and if you know that figuring out what the right move is has been the bugbear for you and you have been stuck in that place and you don't know how you would transition into something else, or perhaps you have an idea of what you want to do, but you're not quite sure what that transition plan would look like, let's have a conversation and see whether or not the program could be a good fit so I can guide you through the process that lots of my clients have been through to get the clarity and confidence to move forward, and also the strategy that you need to put in place so that you can transition seamlessly and without having to retrain or take a massive pay cut. You might have to do a little bit of training like my client, but you don't necessarily have to go back and get a 3-year degree in order for you to reposition yourself. We are really focused on helping you to leverage all of that amazing experience that I know you already have, the years and years of training that you've been through, the years and years of exposure that you've gained, the years and years of work that you've done is not wasted. You're able to leverage that and take it and either shift, pivot, or leap into a new opportunity in a new space. And I would love to support you with that. So if this sounds of interest to you, I encourage you to reach out to me. And that's all I want to share right now. Bye. This episode is sponsored by the Career Change Maker program. Are you ready to make a change in your career? Are you tired of coasting in a role or career that is no longer a good fit? Are you ready to create more impact, feel more fulfilled, and earn more money from the work that you do? If you are nodding your head and what I shared resonates with you, then lean in because I want to share more with you about the program. This is my signature coaching program that is designed to help you to identify and make your next best career move. I created this program because I recognize that too many amazingly talented women are missing important direction and strategy for their career development and advancement. In the corporate world, there is an unspoken, invisible playbook that determines how you should maneuver to experience the type of career satisfaction that you desire. The problem is, so many women have the playbook with a few pages missing. And if you have pages missing, you're in a position where you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't know what you don't know, how can you fix it? So I really want to help you. Let me help you fill in the gaps so that you can understand exactly what is required to take you from where you are now to where you want to be in your career so that you can feel fulfilled in the work that you're doing, so you can be excited about the work that you do, and so that you can feel the impact that you're making through the work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Make your application to join the Career Changemaker program today by heading over to www.careerchangemakers.com/program, and I look forward to hearing from you. If you enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to subscribe to the show so that you don't miss any future episodes. Also, I would love to know what your biggest takeaway has been from today's episode. Come over and join us in our Career Changemakers community over on LinkedIn so that you can join the conversation there. Head over to lightbotscoaching.com/community and it will take you right to the group. I look forward to seeing you.